Elden Ring Nightreign is perhaps the video game that has surprised me the most in the last few years, providing me with an experience that I feel I can continue to play for hours upon hours on end. Combining the admittedly addictive combat flow of Elden Ring with the chaotic nature of a multiplayer roguelite choose your hero styled game. In a prior video, I've detailed why I find Nightreign to be so addictive. But after so much playtime, I find myself wondering how long will the hooks of the game remain steadily within me without any additional content in the flowing months. Let me be clear, I understand and love the post-release content we have received, from the Everdark Sovereign bosses to Deep of Night and the Forsaken Hollows DLC, not to mention balance patches and the like. Yet, all of this content, barring the Duos mode update, was pre-planned for Nightreign prior to it getting in our hands. Deep of Night, we had known about this mode months in advance due to data mining, and the DLC we knew of before the game came out. Where we currently are in Nightreign's life is the stage of uncertainty. So, with that said, I have a few hopes of the future for this game, because I believe From Software could make Nightreign become an absolute beast of a game if they let themselves go just a little bit crazy. Starting off with something I think everyone would like to see. More POI bosses, or just field bosses for the sake of this video. As it stands, we have a fairly tight selection of field bosses in the game, which includes both normal and formidable bosses alike. In total, there are 22 field bosses in Nightreign, 11 of which are normal and the other 11 being formidable bosses. Not only is this a rather low number, meaning you'll encounter a lot of the same boss types run by run, a handful of the field bosses are also night bosses as well. Heck, some like the Deathrite Bird are not only field bosses and the Night 2 boss, but are also an Everjail boss to boot. I want to be clear, while I do think that having certain bosses being repeated under differing scenarios is a bit tiresome, I do understand that within the base game of both Elden Ring and Nightreign respectively, what we got is about what we could have expected. After all, boss repeats was a complaint levied at normal Elden Ring 2, and while that doesn't forgive Nightreign, again, I understand it. That said, one of the things I hoped for with the Forsaken Hollows DLC was more field bosses too, which we didn't get. We got new night bosses, and a lot of those range from being great to outright incredible, so that's good. But still, I would have loved to see more Shadow of the Erdtree enemies appear as field bosses for us to fight. We didn't get that in the DLC, so I hope we can see this happen in a possible future update, be it another paid DLC or as free content. Additionally, you know what else would help in having more variety? New center castle formations. As it stands, the center castle within the main Limveld map can be one of three formations: Banished Knights, Crucible Knights, and Trolls. The latter of the three being widely disliked, so what if we had Black Knights? No, not from Shadow of the Erdtree, even though that would be appreciated too. No, Dark Souls Black Knights. I imagine a simple pull from Dark Souls 3 with a few adjustments would be pretty doable. In fact, there's so many differing knight factions in Elden Ring they could have pulled from as well, but more uniquely, Clean Rot Knights. Yeah, I know we can encounter them in the DLC marshes, but not like we don't have repeat enemy spawns as is. Alternatively, any other enemy type would be a welcome change of pace. Imagine if we had at least another 3 variants of what Castle could be. That alone would be very appreciated if you ask me, and would make this location all the more interesting to go to. This would also mean we have more seeds in the game overall, which I only see as a positive. Obviously, this requires a decent deal more work from Software, but this is a I hope video, not a make this a reality video, so on that note, how about a 5th Shifting Earth event? Yeah, I know, technically the Great Hollow is our 5th Shifting Earth event, but come on, that's a whole new map. What I would love to see is another change up to the main map. We got Mountaintops, Rotted Woods, Crater, and Noclateo. How's about a Haligtree inspired Shifting Earth? Or a Lindell? You could easily have a Godfrey-like boss for Lindell as the area's end challenge. Just something to put at the upper right corner of the map. It feels kind of left out, you know? I don't know. I think it would be a much welcomed addition and switch up to the main map if we got a brand new Shifting Earth for it. Weapons. Probably the thing that most people want to see added in Nightreign are more weapons, namely from Shadow the Erdtree, and I get it. Many of those bad boys are super fun and would give more build diversity to each of the Nightfarers, assuming we also get the spells and incantations too. While I also would like nothing more than to use the Milady as Duchess and see her be extremely slick and stylish with it, I'm gonna present another idea. Dark Souls weapons. See, what I want from Nightreign the more and more I play it is for From Software to go, screw it, and be at least a tad more crazy with the Dark Souls inclusions. They're obviously not against the idea, being they gave us freaking Artorias the Abyss Walker as a boss, possibly the most popular character from the Dark Souls trilogy, whose name isn't Solaire. Imagine it, they can be called Age of Fire weapons, and loot drops from bosses will have this unique fiery orange hue to it, letting you know a Dark Souls weapon is awaiting you. What weapons could they bring in? Well, here's a few suggestions. Starting off, Black Knight weapons. If Dark Souls Black Knights could be a castle formation, why not bring their weapons in, eh? The sword, halberd, and the axe, either they are completely physical damage or perhaps make them fully damaged. I think they'd be a nice little addition. Classic Moonlight Greatsword. Bring over the original, iconic green Moonlight Greatsword. Functionally, it can be similar to how it was in Dark Souls 3, having the Moonlight Vortex weapon skill from that game. However, buff the Moonlight Beam's range to be at least that of its Dark Moon counterpart. Oh, and make it pure magic damage. No split damage whatsoever, just like it was in Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, and Dark Souls 2. Quelaag's Fury Sword. In Dark Souls, this weapon scaled off of your humanity and dealt fire damage. How about in Nightreign, while still keeping its fire properties, it has a mechanic where it scales off of your Nightfarer's maximum HP, meaning the more overall HP you have, the higher your AR will be. Or perhaps its damage is calculated by if your HP is full or not, lowering a bit when slightly below max HP, and it gradually decreases the lower health your Nightfarer is. Demon Scar. A weapon like this could be interesting as we don't have a weapon catalyst hybrid weapon in Nightreign. This would be solid for probably only Duchess and more so Undertaker, but hey, I think having weird weapons is cool and a good thing, so no regrets of adding it here. And of course, I cannot talk about possible future hopes for Nightreign without mentioning wishes of Everdark Healster and now Dreadlord 2. Everdark Healster feels like a mythical legend at this point. One you know deep down is true, but you just can't prove it. Surely, within due time we'll get him. Right? And Everdark Dreadlord, however, well, that's a bit curious. I never expected From Software to give us enhanced versions of the DLC Nightlords, but alas, they did so fairly quickly with the Balancers. As such, I don't believe it to be unreasonable to at least semi-expect Dreadlord to receive similar treatment in the future. Right now though, as it stands, Healster and Dreadlord feel like oddities and jarring exceptions to a rule. especially in Hyolster's case, as I, and many others, never found him particularly more difficult than certain other Night Lords in the base roster such as Libra. Hell, when Nightreign was new, it was a pretty common opinion that Libra was the hardest Night Lord. Good times those were. Regardless, I think of all the hopes and copium in this video that the Everdark versions of these bosses are the most likely, and with any luck, aren't much further out. Alright fellas, if you enjoy content such as this and hearing my thoughts, the best ways to show that are by liking the video, leaving a comment, and giving a subscribe to little old me. It truly helps a ton, and I am very appreciative of that kindness. Either way, that's all for now. This video is on the shorter side than my usual, but it's nice doing more chill videos like this. So, I hope to see you next time. Adios.